What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, well, the whole set list for OP-09 has gone and been revealed. And I'm not in this video going to attempt to show you every single card from OP-09 or every single card we've yet to talk about, because that would take a long time and get annoying. But there are a bunch of cards I do want to talk about, so we're going to flick through a bunch of cards from OP-09 that I want to talk about because, you know, it's my video, and I think it might be fun. So that's what we're going to do. There is an Uta coming, which is just a generic redhead pirate searcher. When you play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a redhead pirate and add it to your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. It's not hugely exciting, but it is an interesting card. If you're playing a Shanks deck, for instance, you're probably going to need this at some point. So, you know, that's that. We've got a fun little pair of cards. We've got Bonk Punch and Monster. And essentially, Bonk Punch 4 cost 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And on play, you can play a monster card from your hand. It's then got Don X1 when attacking. This character gets plus 2,000. So basically, one Don turns into 3, which is pretty cool. But then we've got Monster, 3 cost 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and if Bonk Punch would be KO'd by an effect, you can put this in the trash instead. It's a fun little pair of cards, which I just like it when you get things like that work so nicely together. It makes me happy. There's also a really nice stage, Red Force, and essentially this is a 2-cost stage, and it's got an activate main, rest this stage. If your leader is Redhair Pirates, one of your opponent's characters loses 1,000 power this turn. But remember, we've got a bunch of stuff like that going on with Shanks, like the leader itself, which is once per turn when your opponent attacks, one of your opponent's leader or characters loses 1,000 power. And then we got the super rare that we've only just seen the regular art. The alternate art was revealed ages ago. We've only just seen the regular art, which has a static, all of your opponent's characters lose 1,000 power. And there's a bunch of other stuff going on as well in the Shanks deck. And I'm just saying, lowering power in Shanks is working very, very nicely indeed. Now there's a new Alvida over in blue, part of the Cross Guild, fitting in with Buggy. And this one I like very much indeed. 5 cost 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000. But when KO'd, if your leader has cross skill trait, i.e. is the new Buggy, then you can play a character with a cost of 5 or less other than Alvida from your hand. And of course, leader Buggy itself lets you rest 5 Don to play any cross skilled character regardless of their cost. So we've got a bunch of ways here to just play extra characters, and I'm just telling you, this one looks pretty gosh darn cool. It's not cross-skilled, but sticking in blue, there is a new Kozuki Oden, which has got 9 cost 10,000 power, double attack, and on KO you draw 2 trash 1. But double attack and draw power on KO, that seems pretty gosh darn good to me. And there is a new Marco we need to talk about. And look, it's Marco. You know what Marco does at this stage, right? Marco is going to come back when KO'd, and that's what happens. During your opponent's turn, you may discard 1 card from your hand, and if this character, is KO'd by an opponent's effect, not KO'd in battle, it has to be by effect, play it from the trash rested. It's Marco. Obviously, it's coming back from the trash rested. And there's another really nice stage here. Karai Bali, or Karai Bali Island, I should say. And this one is, if you're going to be playing Buggy, it seems great. 1 cost card, activate main, put 2 cards from the hand to the bottom of your deck in any order, rest the stage, and if your leader has cross guild, draw 2 cards. So you put 2 cards from your hand to the bottom of your deck and then draw 2. That's really nice for getting through your deck and finding cool stuff. I'm just saying, there are some good stages coming around in this set, and possibly the best stage I haven't even got to yet. That's something to look forward to. Moving over to purple, we've got ourselves a Nami here. Free cost 2,000 power, counter plus 2,000, that'll help. And on play, return one or more Don from your field to your Don deck, and then give 2 rested Don cards to your leader or one of your characters. Of course, as I've told you many times at this stage, Luffy leader's got a skill whereby when you put 2 or more Don from your field to your Don deck, you get to add 2 Don, 1 active, 1 rested. So for a skill like this with Nami, it essentially just activates one of your Don. But of course, there are a bunch of cards that want to use Luffy's skill every turn, so it's not going to always be that easy, but this is a very, very nice one. We've also got a new Nico Robin that's just a 2-cost, 2,000 power blocker. It's a low-cost blocker for this Straw Hat Crew deck, which is cool. And remember, as I told you the other day, we've got that Trafalgar Law that lets you look at the top 4 cards of your deck and find a Straw Hat Crew or Heart Pirates. So that's your generic Straw Hat Searcher for purple decks, which is pretty gosh darn cool. But this is the one with the stage that is absolutely ridiculous. We've got Thousand Sunny, it's a 1-cost stage, and during your opponent's turn, you may rest this stage. And when one of your characters, that is Straw Hat Crew, leaves a field due to your opponent's effect, add a Don card from your Don deck rested. It means that if your opponent is taking out your characters doing anything other than attacking, you're getting extra Don. We've seen how great stages are when they give you extra Don. This is a 1-cost stage that can accelerate Don. That is absolutely absurd. This is a phenomenal stage. It is very much one worth getting a little bit excited about. Now, over in black, we do need to have some Blackbeard pirates. We've got some. We've got Katarina Devon. 5-cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And activate main once per turn. If your leader has a Blackbeard Pirates trait, i.e. is Blackbeard, then until the end of your opponent's next turn, you can choose to gain either double attack, or banish, or blocker. It is not all. It says car between them, that is all. It is double attack, or banish, or blocker. But that's kind of absurd. Because if you're trying to go full-on aggressive, double attack, if you're playing against yellow or something where you're pretty sure they've got a good trigger, banish. And if you're worried about your opponent attacking next turn, blocker. It's a character that can be any of those 3 things. I think that is potentially redonk. There is a new Gecko Moria, which, I mean, look, you know it's playing characters from the trash. It's Gecko Moria, that's what you're doing. On play, play a character with Thriller Bark traits at a cost of 2 or less from your trash rested. More tricks for black decks to play characters, and you know what? Yeah, that seems about right here. And yes, don't worry, I know we didn't show you a green stage, there isn't one, but there is a stage here. It is Honeycomb, 1 cost, activate main, discard a card from your hand, rest this stage, and then look at the top 3 cards of your deck, find a Blackbeard Pirates, add it to your hand. It is a 1-cost stage that lets you search out your characters. This is a stage which is not just worth playing, it is a stage that is worth mulliganing for. Because we don't have a generic Blackbeard searcher in this set. We just don't have one. So, yeah. This stage becomes pretty gosh darned important. But we have this stage, and that's lovely. And then we've got a couple of cards in yellow, which are also making me pretty happy. Now, I've already shown you revolutionaries like Koala, which is a blocker that lets you put a card from the top bottom of your life to your hand, and then play a revolutionary army with a cost of 4 or less and draw a card. And I've shown you Sabo, which when played lets you add a character that is revolutionary army from your hand to your life face up, and then if you've got 2 or more life, add a card from the top bottom of your life to your hand. And as a trigger, if your leader is multicolored, draw 2 cards. I've shown you those 2, but there's some other revolutionary armies here I like very much indeed. Like, for instance, the new Belo Betty. Free cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And when you play this, if you got 2 or less life, draw a card. It's really good. But also as a trigger, if your leader is Revolutionary Army, and the total number of life cards between both players is 5 or less, you get to play this card for free. And then if you've got 2 or less life, you get to draw a card. Yeah, I'm really desperately hoping Revolutionary Army becomes good at some point in the near future, because I want to play the Revolutionary Army. And do remember, if you're going down the Revolutionary Army route, we do have a couple of different options. We've got the Belo Betty from OP-05, which is an extremely cool character, leader, that is red and yellow. And then we've got the Sabo from Starter Deck 13 that is black and yellow. So you have your choices here. Elsewhere, we got Bartholomew Kuma, and if you're reading the manga right now, this is tragic, but also possibly the best written part of the manga so far, and that's really saying something. 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 2,000, and as a trigger, if your leader is Revolutionary Army, and both players between them have 5 or less life, play this card. Same trigger you'll notice as on Belo Betty. And while we're going revolutionaries, we might as well mention Lindberg quickly. We're not talking about a card that I like as much as the other two here, but free cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000. It's got the same trigger. If the total number of life between you and your opponent is 5 or less, play this card. Yeah, if these are coming out too early, that's sad. But then we got an on play. If the total number of life cards for both players is 5 or less, KO a 2,000 power or less character of your opponents. Which is alright. Like I said, I don't like as much as the others, but I do think it's pretty cool nonetheless. And there are a couple of other yellow cards that aren't revolutionaries that we really need to have a look at as well. Like the new Sanji, which is a common, but we got 5 cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000. If your leader has the Egghead trait, add a card from the top of your deck to your life, then trash 2 cards from your hand. Now, we need to wait for the FAQ here, but because you add the life and then trash 2 cards from your hand, this should work. If you've got fewer than 2 cards in hand, you would just end up with a 0 card hand here. And I don't know if anyone out there's playing Egghead. I'm not seeing Egghead or Vegapunk as a particularly hyped deck right now. But I'm saying if you are playing Vegapunk, this seems like a really good card for a common. It's just recovering life. And what is important is it comes out as a trigger regardless of how much life you've got. Now remember, Egghead only starts with 2 to begin with, but that's not the point. This looks cool. We've also got Nico Robin here. 1 cost, 0 power, counter plus 2k, phenomenal artwork. And on play, your leader Nico Robin gets 3,000 power during this turn. And as a trigger, if your leader is Nico Robin, draw 3, discard 2. And it's got counter plus 2k as well. So if you're playing a Nico Robin deck, I'm just saying this seems pretty gosh darn good. And the Robin cards are Ohara cards, and there aren't that many of them, honestly, in the set. We could quickly mention Dr. Clover. 1 cost, 0 power, counter plus 2k. And as an on-play, which actually works as a trigger as well, if your leader is Nico Robin, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, find a card with trigger, pop it in your hand. Not bad, honestly. Seems like the kind of card you'll be playing if you're playing Nico Robin. But generally speaking, Ohara cards, few and far between. So there we go. Not every card from OP-09, not pretending to be, but there was a big drop of new cards, so I thought I'd run you through some of the ones that caught my eye. And now I have. So now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these. Tell me what your favourites are. Tell me what you want to be playing when we get around to OP-09. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.